Well, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone on the West Coast, and good afternoon, people in other parts of the country and the world. Thank you very much for taking some time out of your day to come and join us. Today we have a fantastic webinar, combination of Huawei and one of our great partners, Nuvestack, on the subject of desktop as a service. This is going to be a really great webinar, and we're excited about it. A couple pieces of housekeeping very quickly. As we always like to do, we're going to have some polling questions. And when we do launch those, we very much appreciate your participation. So go ahead and vote, and then we will share the results so you can see how your peers are voting on these different polling questions. And that's always kind of interesting to see. Also, it's very likely that many of you will have questions for the presentation and for the presenters. So there's a Q&A panel in your GoToWebinar interface. Please go to the questions section and enter your questions there, and we will take those all at the end. Finally, this webinar is being recorded, and it will be available on the Huawei website, which is huaweienterpriseusa.com. We'll have it up there within 24 hours after the conclusion of the webinar, and we'll send it over to our friends at Nuvestack as well, and they might be able to put it on their website, which is great. We're going to go through a few housekeeping slides, but I do want to introduce our primary presenter today, which is going to be from Nuvestack. It's a gentleman named Tony Harvey. He's the Director of SMP and Alliances over at Nuvestack. And he's one of the foremost experts on desktop as a service, so we're very excited and happy to have him here helping us as well. But let's go ahead and dive in real quick. So what we want to do is just dive in a little bit on the overview of Huawei, just take 2 or 3 minutes to talk about that. First of all, as many of you know, Huawei is a global powerhouse. It's a $40 billion company with offices all over the globe. Interestingly, it's a little bit less well known in the United States, and we're doing everything we can to change that through lots of marketing and attending events and things like that. But just so that you know, Huawei serves 45 of the world's top 50 telco operators, and this is really where we get our reputation of extremely reliable, bulletproof kinds of devices. And also we have a great reputation of a value purchase because our pricing is very aggressive as well. We have over 150,000 employees, 70,000 of which are dedicated to engineering, which is one of the reasons why we have so much innovation and investment going on. Our North American headquarters is in Plano, Texas. That was established in 2001, and we have various sales offices spread around the U.S. So that's just a little bit about the company. On the next slide, you see a little bit about Huawei's investment in technology and in innovation. I think it's just worth pointing out that Huawei just this year, last year alone, spent over $5.5 billion in R&D. So the amount of innovation that's coming out of this company across a wide portfolio of technologies is just staggering. As I mentioned earlier, we have over 70,000 engineers in the R&D group, so that just gives you some sense of the magnitude of innovation and technology research and product development that's going on. We have 23 R&D centers worldwide. One of the larger ones is in Santa Clara, California, not too far from the Cupertino headquarters, or the Cupertino office here in California as well. Another thing that Huawei spends a tremendous amount of time invested in is all the different standards groups. So you can see a couple of the common ones here, but we have literally dozens of people that are engaged in these various standards committees, and we're working to push forward as many initiatives as we can relative to various industry standards and make sure that we're able to collaborate with all the major partners and interoperate with other technology that's out there. And then from a patent perspective, we've got tens of thousands of patents, which just kind of ties back to the investment in R&D and the innovation that's going on. The final thing I just want to talk about real quick is kind of setting the stage for this whole presentation relative to our product portfolio. So on the next slide, you can see that Huawei has a tremendous portfolio of products ranging from what most people know us for, which is our networking portfolio, but we also have tremendous amount of switching and storage and server products, as well as UC&C, which is typically telepresence and video conferencing products. We take this whole suite of different products and put it across a variety of verticals. Our primary focus in the vertical space is education and retail. We also do a large amount just in corporate enterprise, and we do a lot with channel partners that are selling into all these different verticals. So I think it's kind of hard to find an IT-related vertical where Huawei doesn't have some kind of product presence. But today we're going to really zero in down on the data center space and specifically on the servers, because the server product line is really where the collaboration is with Nuvestack as they're putting their technology on Huawei servers and being able to deliver that out to the market. So that's just a real quick introduction to Huawei. Hopefully that sets the stage for everybody who's in the attendance in the audience today. And now what I'd like to do without further ado is turn over to our primary presenter, which I mentioned earlier is Tony Harvey from Nuvestack. So Tony, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining. Also here with me in my office to the left, I have Colin Kelly. He is our Vice President of Product Marketing and Product Management. He'll be conducting the presentation as well. So you'll hear two voices on our side. It could be myself as well as Colin, and possibly Nick as he jumps right back in. I've been working with Huawei for a number of months here, and I've been blessed, to sort of been integrated into what they do. I'm really excited to launch this partnership. I've learned a lot about Huawei, a lot of the things that Nick mentioned at the beginning, and we are really excited at the way their hardware and our software and the partnership is starting to formulate. Their footprint and expertise in the global IT market, as Nick said earlier, as well as their determination to capture this North American market, specifically with a desktop as a service solution, made Huawei an early strategic partner for not only myself, but Nuvestack as a whole. We've taken a lot of time to slow walk this partnership over these months with extensive testing, joint market, as well as market research, just to ensure success for this product for you, the end user. This webinar today will be the first of a number of webinars in our series and different types of partner engagements to really begin evangelizing this joint partnership. So if you see us at a show, or you may see us in other webinars after the fact, just come over to us and understand we're building this thing and we're doing it with your help. A couple of things I wanted to mention early on. Through my presentation, you may hear me use the term we or our. I know just by looking at the list of people who have joined the webinar, there may be a number of partners or MSP or data center partners on the call. When I say we, with regards to Huawei and how we go to market, I'm speaking of us all. All of our data center partners, all of our networking partners, all of our channel partners. The Huawei Nuvestack solution is our solution. So when you hear that word for an end user, for a customer, just understand I stand by it, we stand by it here at Huawei, and all of our partners stand by delivering the exact same solution and the exact same success that I'm speaking of when I say we. It's not only a Nuvestack proper, it's all of us. So before we get going, let me give you a little bit about Nuvestack. Our home office here. I'm located here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Mid-December, we have beautiful weather for this time of year, but that's where where we are. Nuvestack as a whole has been around for about a year. I think January of last year we went public and we launched, and we've been offering this service and really building our partner network. A number of us on this team has years of experience doing desktop-specific virtualization, and we have deployed thousands of the highest performing virtual desktops possible. So our expertise and our experience is in this virtualized desktop market. We understand the complexities involved in cloud desktop deployments, and our sole focus here at Nuvestack is to alleviate any of those complexities, the complexities which really have prevented a more widespread adoption of virtual desktops in the cloud. In one sentence, at Nuvestack, our purpose is to change the way the world distributes and consumes computing. We want to allow you, our end user, our customers, to really stop wasting time and wasting money on desktop and IT. We want you to step back and let us manage your desktop computing and all your IT nightmares so you can focus on your real core business. We here at Nuvestack, listen, we're passionate about elevating every single customer to what we call enterprise-grade computing. We want each customer and each user to have the best computing experience that the cloud has to offer, and we found a way to make it easy for you with an all-inclusive monthly subscription payment model. You only pay for the computing resources that you need. When you start it, when you stop, that's up to you. You can stop worrying about your IT nightmares. Our whole thing is we want to give you more for less by simply using Nuvestack. That's kind of my elevator pitch, 50,000-foot version of it. But that's really as simple as it gets. For us, our core word is ease. How easy can we make this? How can we put the tools in the hands of the end user, to really ease those headaches up, for you? We understand that desktops and IT management will always be a hassle, and they will always cost more than you initially think. Little fixes here, little upgrades there, surprise security issues, licensing inconsistencies or changes. they will only mean one thing to you if you're an end user, that you will have to deal with the downtime and the cost, and you'll end up paying more money, really to keep what you currently have working, not even thinking about, expanding that. With Nuvestack, along with Huawei, this solution will provide no surprises. We come in, we handle everything, end-to-end support, we set it up, we maintain it, we literally become your desktop-specific IT staff. Now that I've given, I want to give a brief, little blurb about, who we are and what we've done to get it started. I think we should just, pause for a quick minute, let you all digest that, and, jump into a polling question. Nick?
Outstanding. Well, that got me inspired because I know I've had my share of desktop issues over the years. The first polling question we want to ask is just to get a bit of a sense of how familiar you are with this overall space of virtualized desktops. So the first question is, have you used a virtual or cloud-hosted desktop before? We want to know if you're a super guru so that you've done it and you set it up all by yourself, which is phenomenal. You've used one, but you had your IT staff set it up for you. You do not know what a virtual desktop is, or you do know what one is, but you just haven't used one before. So go ahead and take just a couple seconds to vote here. While you're voting, I do want to reiterate that we would love to have your questions coming into the Q&A panel. So if you have questions, please enter those in, and we'll take those at the end, and we'll be able to kind of share your questions with the whole audience. So we'll give you just a couple more seconds to vote, and then I'll share the results with everybody. All right, let's go ahead and close out the poll, and we'll share the results. And as you can see, the majority, 60%, have not actually used one, but you are familiar with what a virtual desktop is. About a third of you have actually used one and had your IT staff set it up, and a small percentage have actually set it up yourselves. So you may want to send your resumes over to Nuvestack. They're going to be looking to help work with you guys, I'm guessing. But the good news is, for Tony and his team over there, nobody is completely confused about what a virtual desktop is. So I think that's very helpful for you as you go through the rest of the presentation. So Tony, back over to you.
Thanks a lot, Nick. That's really beneficial for us guys, and I appreciate your participation in that. We really wanted to get a general idea of who our audience was and how familiar we all are, with these virtualized or cloud desktops. So I really appreciate. As Nick said, we appreciate the fact that there's a vast majority of us are familiar with it in some aspects, so that's great. Let's talk more about what this thing called DaaS, or Desktop as a Service, is. In short, it is the new way of computing that we know can replace either some or all of the physical Microsoft Windows PCs in your workplace. It's that simple. Through using Nuvestack, instead of running your compute local on that device, we move all your physical PCs into our Nuvestack cloud, and all of your desktop personas for some or all of your users will now run on, in this case, Huawei servers and Huawei hardware in the data center. For you, the benefits are a number of them. First off, you don't need to worry about setting any of this up, as I said before. We set it all up for you. Okay? You don't even have to worry about paying the upfront or back-end server hardware costs that the actual virtual desktops run on. Okay? After your virtual desktops are up and running, your employees work exactly how they worked the day before. Okay? They can work on their virtual desktops exactly as they do now on their physical desktops. The only real difference between the two, that the copies of their Windows software that they're now, that they're using, is now running in the cloud. They can now access the virtual desktops from a variety of endpoints. I mean, these endpoints can be a Mac, which is what I'm using, now for the PowerPoint. It could be a Windows, laptop, an iPad, an iPhone, an Android, really anything. Well, we're talking about BYOD, and we're bringing our own device to work, and everyone wants to have that mobility. You now have that ability to do that while keeping all your data secure. Now, if your environment is one of task workers or shift workers, and most people are tethered to a specific workspace, that's fine too. Our preferred endpoint will probably be a lockdown thin client. Now, what this is it's simply a mini PC that's sole existence is to allow you access to your Nuvestack virtual desktop. No one will ever need to manage or maintain this lockdown thin client over time, thus lowering your hardware costs, thus lowering your management fees and bodies for break fix. You can still access your virtual desktop anywhere, whether you're locked down at a desk or at a home office or on any remote device, BYOD device that can access the internet. It's simple. It's really that simple. And as I said before, I'll reiterate, we handle all the setup. This desktop as a service is what we offer for you, the service. We set it up, we support it, the backup, the maintenance, it's all included in your monthly subscription service that allows you to only pay for the computing resource that you may need at any given time. I was on a call this morning with a group. They're preparing for the tax season. Okay, so they're going to need, sort of upscale their desktops between now, and mid-spring into the summer. And after tax season slows down, they're going to need to tether those back. Well, that's fine with us. Perfect opportunity. They're only going to pay for the resources when they need it, and when they're done with it, we can scale that back. We're offering these virtualized desktops as a service for you to use or not use, at your leisure. Now, I'll let you guys, think about that, noodle on that, formulate any thoughts or questions. I'm going to pause, throw it back over to Nick for one more polling question.
Excellent, excellent. And we are getting lots of good questions, so thank you very much, and keep those coming. Tony just talked about a number of different drivers that are fueling this whole virtualized desktop world. And so what we want to find out now is, from your perspective, what are you most concerned about with regards to your current desktop computing environment? Is it the issue of data loss and security? Is it the increasing accessibility of all the BYOD initiatives, people bringing in their own tablets and smartphones? Is it just the sheer labor cost of the IT associated with supporting desktops? Or is it the high cost of purchasing the actual hardware and software itself up front? So we'll give you a few seconds to vote on that. And again, we've received a handful of questions already, and they seem to be continuing to come in. So just please keep those coming. It helps make it very interactive. And I know Tony is also going to show you guys a live demo here in a few minutes, which is also going to be great. So just 5 more seconds to get your final vote in, and then we'll share the results. All right, let's go ahead and close out the poll, and we'll share the results with you. And as you can see, it's fairly evenly split. Data loss and security is usually the top vote getter, and it is, again, today 38%. And we have kind of an even split between the ability to support BYOD and also the high cost of the hardware software up front, and even some mention of the IT costs as well, just in terms of IT support. So very useful information. With that, we're going to send it back over to you, Tony.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
So let's quickly talk about what are some of the key drivers on why you would want to do desktops as a service in the first place. Security is typically one of the #1 issues. And all traffic with desktop as a service is fully encrypted end-to-end. So anything from server all the way to endpoints gets encrypted. That data is very hard to hack into and crack those encryption keys. Also, you get the added security that if you want, all of your documents can remain inside of a locked-down data center to protect those actual documents. So if you have sensitive data, sensitive documents, sensitive information, that can reside inside of the lockdown data center, and you can work on those documents from anywhere without actually moving those documents back and forth. So if you lose a laptop or lose an iPhone or an iPad, you don't have any compromised data or documents that can be retrieved off of that device. Performance is a big issue. At Nuvestack, we know how to architect desktops in the very fastest way possible. They don't slow down over time. We keep them running at their utmost speed for you. There's also no upfront hardware costs for you because you're working off of a as-a-service model, so you don't own the servers, you don't have to buy the servers, you don't have to provision the servers, and that typically leads to cost savings as well.
I'll tell you, not to cut them off, but my two, pain points that I hit when I'm, in front of a partner or a customer that I hear most often are the predictability of the cost and really just making it a lot easier. And here at Nuvestack, those are probably the two things that we focus on most often. This particular slide that's on your screen right now is one of our favorites. In this market, this virtualized desktop as a service, VDI, what people really don't understand are the hidden costs of doing virtual desktops or desktops as a service. This slide you're looking at right now really gives a great idea of all the hidden fees and hidden costs for data migration. The security package, all of these things that when you first grab a tip of that iceberg, you think it's going to be less expensive, you think it's going to be easier and cheaper, until you get halfway through your project and you realize, oh my goodness, I've bitten off a lot more than I can chew. If you look at Nuvestack, we handle it all. There are no costs that aren't predictable. You know all your costs up front, you know exactly what you're getting into, and each and every month or every quarter, your costs are predictable. And for a business, only you can understand, exactly what those pain points are. But these are the types of things that we're offering you, in this solution. The other side is the ease of use. Every day at Nuvestack, we're focusing on the end user. How can we make this more user-friendly and easier for anyone to use this? That's what we have in mind each and every day we wake up and we come to work. With our software, it does not take an IT professional to use, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about allowing the desktop administrator. I've had clients and partners and customers where the secretary is literally adding new users, new hires, provisioning new desktops, and passing out computing resources. We're giving the tools to you completely pre-configured, where if you can set up an email address or a social media page, you can set up a new desktop user. We, through our software, eliminate all the complexities for the deployment. And all you're left with is an easy to understand, easy to use, user interface, which is our Nuvecenter console, for creating and managing new users. I'm going to step back and let Colin, who is our product management guy, walk us through that console and just give you an idea of exactly what it looks like and what it means to you as an end user.
Sure. So, our philosophy is very holistic in that we take care of you from end to end. Once you sign up as a subscriber with us, we'll go through an onboarding process where we get all of your users in the system. We virtualize your apps, we migrate your data, migrate your documents, help you set up your email, help you set up printing, help you set up your thin clients or other endpoints. And then from day one, when you go live, a few members of your organization can be given administrator credentials. And this doesn't have to be an IT person or even a technical person. It could be anyone in HR, secretary. We like to say it's so easy a CEO could do it. So the administrator would get a login to this web console that's on the screen now, and you'll immediately see a list of all your existing users. You can suspend, you can re-enable, you can delete users, you can modify the applications that are assigned to that user, all through this simple web console. And the next time you hire somebody, you can just log in, click new user, and fill in a couple of quick fields, upload a photo, click go, and then that person can immediately log in to a virtual desktop. Here's a live virtual desktop here. So within just 2 or 3 minutes, you can be up and running with a new user on their new virtual desktop. And that task would typically take an actual credentialed certified IT guy a couple of hours spanning a few technical consoles, whereas with us, you can do it in just a few minutes with just this one simple console.
Perfect, Colin. Before we go any further and wrap it up and open it up for questions, I think, Nick, I believe we have one more polling question. Why don't you jump into that?
Okay, thanks, guys. That's great. The final polling question is just to get a sense of, and I know we have a mixture of both resellers and end users on here, so if you're a reseller, you're kind of talking for your customers, and if you're an end user, you're just talking about your own environment. But what we're curious about is, when is your next PC desktop refresh or expansion cycle? Is that something you see happening within the next 6 months? Is it between 6 months or a year? Is it more than 12 months out, or do you have no plans whatsoever to update desktops? So we'll give you a couple seconds to vote on that. Right now we have at least a half a dozen questions that have come in, so thank you so much for that. It's very helpful. And by the way, I know somebody was asking who that other voice was. I know Tony mentioned that Colin was going to come on, but Colin Kelly is with product management at Nuvestack, so he's in the room there with Tony, and the two of them are tag teaming on this thing. And what I've heard from these two guys is there is no question that the two of them cannot answer, so they're looking to be stumped by you guys if they can. Let's go ahead and close out the poll and share the results, and you can see this one's very balanced. We do have a percentage, about 20%, that are moving within the next 6 months, and then about 30% within 6 months to a year, another 30% more than a year out, and about 20% that don't have any plans. So that's useful as well. We'll go ahead and send it back over to you guys to take us home, and then we've got time for questions.
Thanks a lot, guys. That's very, very useful. I appreciate your participation again. And so what I'd like to do, is really wrap it up and then open it up for questions. In closing, I'd like to just reiterate, a couple of things. Here at Nuvestack, everything that we do with our partners is with the ease of the end user and the customer in mind. Keep that in mind. For all of you who voted early that you're fairly familiar with desktops, or you've used desktops as a service, or you've used or deployed virtual desktops, I offer give Nuvestack a try. Our dedication is that we will do it easier, we do it faster, we'll do it cheaper, and we'll do it better. No one else goes into the market solely focusing on desktop as a service like we do here at Nuvestack. No one else will approach desktop as a service with this holistic end-to-end approach as we've employed here. For desktop security, data migration, emails, to user personas, to really all the post-sale provisioning, support, and management, Nuvestack and our partners, we're there with you, we're there for you. Okay, we're going to guarantee the highest performing virtual desktop available via the cloud with absolutely no performance degradation over time. Okay, we're going to take care of all those headaches of moving you to the cloud. We'll set everything up. We'll keep you running. We will support you at every single step. We are looking to get you as an end user out of the desktop management business. We want to allow you to focus on what you do best, which is making money at your craft and not having the headaches, of desktop and IT that, a partner like Nuvestack can help alleviate. So, with that, I think, we'll just open up to questions, and, we can go deeper and answer any specific questions that you may have.
Okay, great. The first one says, can you talk again about how the software licensing works with Nuvestack, both for the user and also for applications that they want to use? And can they run applications beyond Office, such as CAD applications, or what's the diversity of applications that you guys offer?
Yeah. So the answer is yes. So we take care of the underlying operating system licenses for you. As part of the onboarding process, we'll virtualize and put in place all the needed applications that you want to use. Any ones that are free and don't require a license, no problem. The ones that do require a license, we have a mechanism of tying those licenses in. So you can get Office directly through us, comes as part of the package. Anything else, you can go buy a license for yourself, and then we'll take care of it and make sure those apps get licensed for those appropriate users.
Excellent. Okay, great. I know you just mentioned a little bit about security, but the question is, how secure are hosted desktops really, and how does it compare to desktop security?
You bet. Sure. So you have to look at two features. So the actual traffic between the data center to the endpoint, and the endpoint is defined as whatever device you're looking at to view the screen representation of your virtual desktop is. The data between servers to endpoint is encrypted, 256-bit AES encryption, which is pretty tough to crack. Even if a hacker was able to sniff your traffic and crack that encryption, he's not going to get a fully comprehensive view of what you were seeing at the time you were working on your virtual desktop, because the display protocol that we use is very efficient, and it only sends the pixels that change within a certain time frame. So if you were able to sniff the traffic, crack that encryption, what you would end up with, it would essentially be a jigsaw puzzle of just random pixels that you'd have to somehow recreate over in 2 dimensions on the screen, plus figure out how to recreate them over time. It's virtually impossible to recreate that screen representation of those pixels. So from that aspect, it's very secure. From the aspect of keeping your data and documents inside of a lockdown data center, there's a big advantage there over traditional computing with regular desktop PCs and laptops, in that and we can configure it to adhere to whatever security policy you want. And if you want, those documents can stay locked inside of that data center and never leave that data center. So if you have a sensitive Excel document users can only view that Excel document when they're logged into their virtual desktops. They can't transfer that document to a thumb drive. They can't transfer it locally to their endpoint. And that means if your laptop or if your endpoint gets lost or stolen, nothing's compromised because there's nothing there for anyone to get. We've had digital forensics teams look into endpoints, and as soon as your session is cut to your virtual desktop, there is literally no data on your local device that someone could get in still or recreate in any fashion.
Excellent. Here's kind of an ancillary question. It says, how will this solution work in a corporate environment where my users need to access legacy data and servers?
Sure. So we can tie in, even though your virtual desktops are running in the cloud out of a data center somewhere, we can tie into legacy servers that you have on-site, on-premises, inside of the building. That's option one. Option two is a lot of times if you're going to go through the process of moving your desktops to the cloud, it kind of makes sense to move a lot of your server infrastructure to the cloud as well. So we can help you migrate that server data to the cloud with one of our partners. The third option is if you have a decent user base within a certain office, maybe anywhere over 50, 60 users, we can even put the desktop server hardware on premises, but still let you pay for it and use it under an as-a-service model. So we can put our desktop servers right next to your servers in your building, but you still don't need to own them. You don't need to pay for them. You don't need to set them up or maintain them over time. So there's a lot of options there.
Excellent. How often do you back up the user data?
Sure. So all of the user data resides on a SAN inside of the data center. It's a fully redundant SAN, no single points of failure. That SAN is backed up nightly inside of the same data center for in the highly unlikely event that the SAN could become corrupted or destroyed. There is a daily backup to another on-site disk array, and then that disk array is asynchronously replicated to an off-site facility in a different region of the country. So worst case scenario, if an entire data center was taken out by a natural disaster, your data is still safe and protected and backed up off-site in a different region of the United States.
Excellent, excellent answer. The next one, and sorry, we've just got a long list here, which is fantastic, very engaged audience. What support options does Nuvestack provide for their solution?
Sure. So our philosophy is quite holistic, and our default package includes every single bit of conceivable support you can think of. You don't need to worry about hardware if there's a hardware failure. Obviously, we take care of that because you don't own the hardware. If you have a problem with our Nuvacenter web portal that I showed earlier, we have a support line for that, so you or your administrators can get help there. And then we handle all the initial setup and provisioning for you, and we even offer support all the way down to end-user help desk. So if Sally in accounting has a problem printing, or if that little blue E icon that used to be on her desk suddenly disappeared, or she can't find a file, there's a toll-free number she can call. There's also a chat agent where she can start a live chat session with a support technician. Our technician can start a ticket right away and get started on the problem instantly.
Excellent, excellent. This one, I think, is probably from one of our partners in the audience, and it's a two-parter. It says, how do I become a Huawei or Nuvestack partner? So I'll go ahead and quickly describe the Huawei side of it. If you look on that slide that's on the screen right now, there's a website, which is Huawei Enterprise USA. I know Huawei has several different websites, and it can be a little bit confusing, but this one, Huawei Enterprise USA, is the primary enterprise website here in the States. And if you go onto that site, you'll be able to see at the top level nav is an item called Partners, and if you click on Partners and you're not already one, you can apply to become one. It's a very fast and painless process, and once you become a partner, it takes you into a part of the website that is exclusively contains content just for our partners. It includes price lists and training, online training on how to sell Huawei products, as well as deal registration and a number of other things. So if you have any questions, you can call that phone number or send an email, but basically it's a fairly self-service oriented experience. Tony, how is it with Nuvestack?
Yeah, a lot of the same. So from a Nuvestack perspective, the website you see and the email address that you see, any of those can get you there. You can also reach out, if you like, directly to me here, or any of us here, and we can guide you in that direction. If you're a managed service provider partner, reseller partner, or data center partner, just please be specific as to what type of partnership you're looking for, and then within minutes we can get you in front of the correct person. Considering that what we're doing here, with Huawei and really starting to grow this partnership, with Huawei as a partner, I'll be a part of that process very heavily. So just reference Nuvestack, Huawei, and reference this webinar, and we'll make sure that you have a Nuvestack point of contact as well as a Huawei point of contact in whatever region you're looking to do and whatever business model you're looking for.
Very nice, very nice. This next one is asking, what is the minimum and kind of expected connection speed necessary to have favorable experience using your hosted desktop solution?
Great. Yes, so you actually don't need as fast of a connection as you would think, because the display protocols these days are so efficient at only sending the pixels that change. We find that on average you need about 200K to 300K up and down per user, and so that traffic spikes depending on what you're doing and how many people in the office are doing it at the same time. But when you look at the law of averages, if you have a typical office with 30 or 40 people in it, about 200K down per user is more than adequate to handle that kind of a workload.
Excellent. And how many monitors can the Nuvestack solution support?
Up to 2.
Okay, great. And can you talk, you mentioned this earlier actually about the lady that was having a problem with her printer, but this question is, can you talk a little bit about printing with the Nuvestack solution, and how does the printer experience get set up, and how are they used with the solution?
So as part of this onboarding process that we go through when we bring a new customer into the virtual desktop world, we sit down with the customer and identify all the different printers that their users need to print to over various locations. And then we have 2 different tracks that we can set you up on. One is a cloud printing track. The other is more of a local direct printing track. Depending on your needs, the types of printers, and where those printers are located, we can figure out which of those 2 tracks works best for you, or even a combination of both those tracks. So we set that all up in advance, identify the printers you need, get those set up, and so your people can print to them from day one. And on an ongoing basis, if you have a problem printing to a printer that's already set up, you can call into support, and they'll troubleshoot the issue for you right away.
Okay, that's great. This one I guess I'll take. It says, and actually you guys can weigh in on it as well, but it says, can you clarify what part of this overall solution is provided by Huawei? And today, Nuvestack is partnering with Huawei on the server component that the actual back-end platform is running on. So that's where the connection is between the 2 companies today. And I don't know if you guys want to elaborate on that a little bit, or talk anything about the Huawei technology that you're using with your software.
Sure. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. We to do virtual desktops the right way, we've learned over our years of experience that you need the right server hardware, and you don't need proprietary server hardware, but you need the very best possible hardware configured in a unique method. And Huawei is an excellent provider of that type of server host for us. So we love making the virtual desktop sessions run directly off the Huawei gear. Super fast, really great density, which keeps the total cost down, and the support is great.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
I apologize, Nick, not to talk over you, but if we're talking about a partner asking and kind of wondering how those 2 fit, the benefit for you as a partner is we've already done the footwork and the homework, as I mentioned earlier, for the research, the development of the proper configuration and the SKUs. So if you're familiar, with your Huawei rep, or if you've been a Huawei partner or customer for some time, it's as easy as a phone call to your local rep to say, hey, I want to get into this desktop as a service solution with Nuvestack, and the configuration is already there for an optimal performance within a data center or an MSP to get started. So we've already done all the footwork to get it up and ready. All you have to do is call up and say, I'm ready to turn it on.
Fantastic. This next one says, can you talk a little bit about the dynamic between users wanting to customize their own desktop and IT departments wanting to lock down the desktop, and kind of how much each of those two groups can control, and what things the user can do if they're allowed to do it?
Sure. Yeah, so our philosophy is let's accommodate everything our customers need up front. And then let's establish that process. Let's be really flexible and make sure we get the applications, policies, everything in place. And we work very carefully with administration of the company, whether it's the IT staff, if they have an IT staff, and frankly, a lot of our customers don't have an IT staff. That's why they want to use us, or with the executives of the company. And then we make that computing environment exist exactly the way they want it. Now, after that fact, in order to provide this great level of service that we provide, and in order to make sure that we maintain the policies we originally agreed with, that desktop is pretty locked down, and it's to protect the users from themselves, essentially, because this is a workplace tool built for small and medium businesses. So there's not a lot of changes that an end user can make once they're up and running. You cannot install your own apps, for example. However, down the road, if you find that your company needs a new application or needs a change in policy, absolutely not a problem. You let us know. We'll make that new app show up, and then you can log into our web portal and click a few check boxes and turn that app on and off for whatever users that you want to have access to that application.
Excellent. And another question is just asking if you can confirm that the servers that the platform is hosted on are running in Nuvestack data centers, cloud data centers. Is that correct?
So this is where our partners come in. So we establish partnerships with data centers across the country, and the Huawei server hardware resides in various partner data center sites, and then depending on the region of the country where the customer is located, and depending on where that customer came from, they'll be assigned on a desktop session running on various server hardware in various partner locations.
Right. So I think the idea of the question wasn't so much about whether you own the data center, but more that, and you definitely mentioned this earlier, but to confirm you are controlling the server experience, the user and the partner, they don't have to do anything to do with the servers or the data centers or any of that, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So our philosophy is we want to make it just as easy for our partners as we do for the customers. So we completely provision that server hardware, and we maintain it on an ongoing basis. We do all the OS patching, all the server patching, security fields, security holes, upgrade apps, do all the remote monitoring, 24/7 remote monitoring, remote maintenance. So yeah. So our partner, if they choose, they can participate and have whatever visibility they want. But if the partner chooses so, they don't need to touch anything. They just need to turn it on and start making some money with us, and we'll take care of it on an ongoing basis.
And along with that, to piggyback on that point from Colin, as I know there are a lot of partners on the call today, a lot of managed service provider ISPs on the call, and a lot of customers that are working through trusted service providers. What we would like to do, what we prefer, is to joint partner with that exact same provider and continue the synergy there with whom you're working with today to keep it consistent. So if you're a partner listening in, as I said at the beginning of the call, when I say our, or when I say we, when I say Nuvestack, we're talking about you and us together, right? So to answer your question, Nick, yeah, we facilitate the hardware in the data center, providers' facilities, and whether that's a Nuvestack partner or that's a partner favorite, by the end user customer that will end up being a Nuvestack data center partner. For us, it matters very little. We want to make it as easy as possible for a customer to understand and accept it, and and have a trusted partner or a service provider whom they've already been working with, sort of support it on the back end and vouch for it and understand that they're partnering with Nuvestack to make sure soup to nuts is taken care of from the end user perspective all the way down to the hardware stack.
I mean, we also offer our partners full sales support, so you'll have access to our full suite of sales tools and marketing collateral. And by the way, this is all designed to be completely brandable towards our partners. So not the whole program, and also the web portal can be completely branded, so it looks like it's coming directly from our partner.
Outstanding. Very, very good, gentlemen. By the way, just to let you know, we have just surpassed the 2014 record for number of questions in a webinar, so I want to give props to the audience for asking all these great questions. We really appreciate the interaction. It's phenomenal, and you've just set the 2014 record, so well done.
Awesome.
A couple more, though. We're still not done yet. How is this solution for education environments, and in particular, do students have the ability to log in from their own personal devices and see their desktop?
You bet. Yeah, it's a great solution for education in that it gives the school administration so much control and frankly kind of peace of mind, because we're able to lock this down from the top down and completely limit access for students exactly the way you want them to have access. So and since it's a hosted virtual desktop, yeah, a student can access it anywhere from any device that has a connection to the internet. They can get to it from their iPad or iPhone or Android phone, an Android tablet, Mac laptop, PC laptop, or one of these lockdown thin clients.
Excellent, excellent. Right now we're down to our final two questions, so if you have any more, please submit them right now, because we just have a couple left. This second to last one is, how does the pricing compare to the purchase of physical laptops and pre-purchase software? If you have a 3 or 4 year refresh cycle on that, how does the numbers, just at a high level, how does it kind of play out when you're comparing those two scenarios?
So if you look at like any given 3-year time period, almost always without fail, desktops as a service through Nuvestack end up costing you less money over 3 years. If you go a physical route, you have to spend money to buy PCs up front. You also have to buy all your hardware or your OS licensing, software licensing, and then you have to pay somebody to manage that PC over 3 years to keep it up and running, deal with all the viruses and spyware, all that stuff. When you look at all of those costs for hardware and for labor, and compare it to what you pay us, where you're just paying us one monthly fee and everything's included, typically over 3 years, sometimes we come in at about half the total price of what it would cost you to deploy physical PCs.
Excellent, excellent. Good rough numbers. And then the final question is, can you just talk about, at the high level, is there a difference between VDI and DaaS, and if so, what is the difference between those two?
Sure. So the primary difference is who owns the hardware and how you pay for it. VDI it typically connotes or evokes this deployment process of you, the end user company, let's say you have 50 users, you would buy a whole bunch of server stuff, you would stick it on site, you'd have to buy double of everything to make it redundant, and then you either need an internal IT staff or you need to contract out with an IT staff to set it all up for you, because VDI doesn't set itself up. And so that's kind of your typical VDI deployment, is it's on site, a whole bunch of server stuff that you pay for, you own, and you manage. Desktop as a service, you end up with the same net result and the same end user experience, but you've essentially outsourced the ownership of that hardware and to the cloud. Much like today, odds are for your email, you probably pay a hosted exchange company to host your email, whereas 10 years ago, you probably bought your own servers and actually had a copy of the Microsoft Exchange running on the server. So it's a similar model in that Desktop as a service eliminates that hardware risk for you. You don't need to buy the hardware. You don't need to provision up front. And then we take it a step further, whereas we completely provision all of that virtual desktop infrastructure in the cloud for you, provision all the servers, provision all the desktops, provision all the apps, and turn and so from day one you're starting with a fully working system for your users that didn't require an IT staff to take a few months and a few $100,000 to set up.
Okay, well, I want to congratulate and take my hat off to Tony and Colin for answering every question that came their way. That was a great job, gentlemen. And just generally to wrap up, I just want to thank everybody for their time again. Do remind you that if you missed any part of this or if you want to share this with any friends or colleagues, the recording of the webinar will be made available on the Huawei Enterprise USA website within 24 hours, so you can get the recording there. And we look forward to seeing you again on another Huawei webinar in the near future. Any final parting words from Tony or Colin?
From our end, I just want to say thanks, Nick. Thanks to the Huawei team for setting this up. Like I said, we look forward to a long-lasting and fruitful relationship with you all. Thanks for Colin for jumping in and joining. I know he has an extremely busy schedule. Thanks for everybody who have taken their time out of their midweek afternoon to jump on and learn a little bit about what we're doing. I really appreciate it. If there are any follow-up questions, please feel free to dial in or email, and we'll knock them down and answer them as soon as we can, as many as we can, and we're going to answer all of them until they're all done. So, don't keep us a secret. Don't be a secret on your end, and reach out, and we're here for you. We're here to help you, whether you're an end-user customer or you're a partner. We can be your IT partner.
Outstanding. Well, thanks again, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you again on another webinar in the near future.